In a freshwater lake where morning light feels newly born, a Squirtle learns the first rule of survival. Stay close to water. Its shell, soft at the start, tougher with every passing day, becomes both shelter and armor, a portable world against shadows from above and darker shapes below. It hunts the way a student learns. A short, controlled jet, a quick retreat, then stillness waiting for the exact moment a meal drifts too near. On good days there are larvae, small fish, and whatever the shoreline offers. On bad days, there's only quiet, and the unmistakable mark of the waterline pulling back. When the storm finally breaks, it isn't just rain, it's force. The current tries to pry this small body from the place it was raised. But Squirtle finds a way. It tucks in, calculates, and uses water against water steering, braking, slipping into calmer pockets before the flood can claim it. This is how childhood ends here. Not with comfort, but with a decision. And in the hush of a shallow, submerged shelter, its body answers the pressure of the world. Change arrives not as a reward, but as a passage forward. Wartortle awakens larger and more precise, as if the river now has invisible lines it can finally read. Its movements are quieter, its turns sharper, guided by a tail that sweeps like a rudder and a focus that feels earned. It no longer hunts by effort alone. It hunts by strategy. It waits behind algae and roots, then bursts forward in a clean sprint, using controlled jets to scatter a school and isolate the slowest fish. But the season presses back. The water shrinks, food becomes scarce, and competition gathers at the last remaining pools. Now, survival isn't only personal. Smaller lives trail behind, depending on the routes Wartortle chooses, the shade it protects, the calm water it can hold without wasting strength. It works the landscape the only way it knows, pushing water from one pocket to another, clearing barriers, buying time, one careful choice at a time. And when the crisis tightens into a single, fading refuge, the body responds again. This second transformation doesn't arrive with triumph. It arrives with necessity, an answer to a world that won't stop changing.
Blastoise rises like a living wall, heavy, grounded, and built for endurance. The cannons set into its shell aren't for spectacle. They are tools, precise instruments of pressure, capable of turning a desperate puddle into a working system. Where the riverbed has cracked and collapsed, Blastoise cuts channels through sand and stone, pulling hidden water forward and guiding it toward deeper ground. It lifts a high, cooling spray to ease the heat along the shore, buys safer moments for the vulnerable to drink, and drives stale turbidity away so the pool can breathe again. When a threat approaches, Blastoise doesn't need to destroy. It only needs to position itself, then fire a warning burst that shatters against rock and white foam, making the boundary unmistakable. And then, at last, the sky answers. Rain returns. Even the rainfall brings danger logs, sudden surges, fast water that can kill as easily as it saves. But Blastoise works with the flood instead of fighting it, redirecting hazards and keeping the new corridors open until the lake begins to fill. Slowly, life returns in small details. Insects reappear, fish slip back into the shallows, and the surface calms into a mirror again. At day's end, Blastoise retracts its cannons and rests, letting the last warmth soak into its shell. Evolution here was never about becoming bigger. It was about learning, enduring, and carrying others through the hardest season until the water could sing again.